Also, if there's going to be some sort of possibility, I mean, Slasher maybe can explain, is there any opportunity for Selfless to actually maybe use some shallowness in the map pool, or the hero pool, should I say, on the side of Rogue? You know, the Reinhardt not being a pick that Nox wants to go for, maybe the Pharah for AKM not being his strongest pick. Can they force Rogue into suboptimal compositions at all, or do you think they're just going to have to deal with what Rogue like to play?
Well, now the one advantage that Selfless has, that Sinatra playing Tracer all this time, is probably going to give the biggest reason for Unko to switch off Zen that we've seen throughout either last month's monthly melee or even all the games here that we've seen yesterday and today. He's been confident enough to go on Zen and not play Ana, even on defense now. And if you're gonna let him do that, you have to kill him. So Sinatra, that's going to be a huge matchup and something that he really needs to focus on.
So we're going to be jumping in just a moment. It will be Selfless on the attacking side. Rogue will start on defense, actually bring Unko on the Zenyatta here as well. So potentially a slightly more fragile composition on defense. We'll see how Rogue can sort of bend with the breeze and flex around, I guess, this aggression we will surely see from Selfless now. And they're going to be out of the gates here. They're going to be having Michael 3D, of course, on that Ana as per usual, the Tracer 76 combo, and Emong on the trusty Roadhog. We'll see if they can get any picks early on here. Soon is already forged fairly deep over towards where Selfless are pushing in from, getting that information, also harassing from the side. And it's going to be Nox going in here as well. Where's the follow-up? Kresnik might be caught out.
Well, the Kresnik's caught up, but importantly, Michael actually has taken on a half HP, forced to use the grenade on himself, which means Emong's not going to have that extra healing, where AKM's able to pick up the kill. But Defrag on the backside takes down Wins, and he's still harassing with Sinatra there over towards the hotel to actually allow them some sort of avenue to attack, to at least keep Rogue back.
Defrag's in a good position. I think he didn't even really need to be very aggressive. He was sort of sitting in the back lines and managed to pick up wins regardless. So Rogue have had to give up a little bit of ground here. They've had to allow Selfless onto this point. Sinatra goes down, and that's going to be the go signal for Rogue to go for this retake. They've allowed the point to be captured to a certain degree. Now they're going to come in and put that to a stop. Good charge from Kresnik, though. He's caught Wins. He goes against the wall. Wins dying twice in situations that he probably should have avoided. But Nico's going to be saving the day with the Dragon Blade, and Unko right there beside him, adding the extra damage.
Really interesting avenue, actually, of how Selfless attacked this. We think back against Runaway yesterday. Selfless went on the high ground here and actually had Defran flank around in towards that window just to kind of apply that pressure with him and Sinatra, and it limited what Runaway could do. But instead, because of where Soon was positioned with Nico actually holding the high ground, not allowing him that access, they couldn't get in that position. And so Sinatra had to go around towards hotel to actually kind of harass from that position instead.
Ooh, Nico went very low there. Sinatra actually managed to take him down. Nox wants to put Menace into his own hands. They're heading up towards the high ground, but Defran has a nano boost. He's going pretty nutty right now with attack visor. That's 2 kills. He's found AKM and Soon and Wins. That should be enough to seal the deal here. It takes a couple of attempts for Selfless to get towards the point, but they eventually make it happen. And it was all off the back of Nico getting picked off so early in that fight.
And if I'm not mistaken, Kresnik actually charged Unko into the wall, into the corner near one of the houses to actually prevent him from getting back, to stop the Nano Boost attack visor from killing people in towards the actual point. So really well done by this man here, and as we saw yesterday, we're going to see Selfless again push up aggressively. But this time they're up against pretty much a 6-man squad, which is going to be really hard to pick up kills. However, Wins has already gone down.
Yeah, at least it was managed to be traded out there. Sinatra falls to AKM, he picks him off, and Nico finds Emong. A little bit of a split here for Selfless right now, and Nico wants to try and take advantage of that. So apparently does Soon, but he gets caught by Dafrid. It's a headshot as he tries to back away. Again, Nox tries to, I guess, feign some aggression towards Selfless in order to force them back, but Dafra wasn't born yesterday. He's going to keep pressuring them right back in towards the Foundry here, and now we're starting to see the Selfless we saw yesterday. This could be nasty. The attack visor of Defran catches up Nox, Sinatra on towards Nico, and here we are again. The spawn camp may well continue.
Looking very reminiscent of yesterday, but Michael actually doesn't notice that Soon's directly behind. Soon's going to go for the contest of the payload here, so he's actually going to distract this one. He has Emong there to actually protect this one, though. As long as he can get by him, he can stall for a little bit of time, but it's pulled Defran back, which has actually worked out really well, allowing the rest of Rogue to maybe get out of spawn, but it doesn't matter. The kills will come through, and Sinatra is still harassing onto Unko.
That may have been a big mistake for Soon. I don't think he expected Emong to be standing in between him and the payload, and of course Kresnik up on that one. Soon thought he'd be able to get a 1v1 against a Reinhardt, but that wasn't the case. Now the sound barrier going to come out here for Selfless. It's Nico. The switch strike on towards Defran picks him off comfortably. Sinatra in the backlines, but AKM too canny to let a Tracer wander so close to his backline. He's squishy supports. But in the meantime, the payload gets to the second checkpoint, and Rogue have been able to do unable to do anything about that. They haven't even played in the streaks phase whatsoever.
Yeah, not at all. And even with the initial engagement that we saw happen with them picking up a 1-for-1 trade with Wins going down, Defran just went a little too ham for him, was able to pick up too many kills, and just like that, even with Unko on the Zenyatta, just Rogue is not able to contest, not able to hold on to that second checkpoint at all. But now we go to the close, and this is where we did see Selfless struggle for a little bit of time. Well, they were able to finish with, I think it was like 3 to 4 minutes left in the end. Michael has an nano boost ready to go, just doesn't have a target to put it on just yet.
Kresnik is going to be pressured heavily here. Nox can still damage him through his shield with the Tesla rifle, so he does need to respect that factor a little bit. Here's the sound barrier. This has to be an engage from Rogue. They've got to come forward now and get some value. Unco going to be using the Transcendent, so both defensive ultimates popped in that fight, and it looks like a decisive victory for Rogue. It was. They only lost wins ultimately, but a big investment of ultimates, at least 3 used in that fight.
And not to mention, we didn't see any counter used out of Selfless, so instead of actually investing anything into that to potentially pick up the fight or turn the tides, they save it for the next. But the problem is, Nox and Nico are actually behind them. Nico is just looking for some sort of early damage with Soon there as well, and they take down Defran right off the bat. That's a big damage, and they're now gone.
Unco is such a dangerous player on that Zenyatta. You see him so often feature in the kill feed, getting crucial pickups, especially onto players like Defran, and that halts Selfless in their tracks. Defran had the tack visor. He goes down at the start of the fight. It was a very good pick-off, and that's bought Rogue a couple more seconds.
Oh, there's going to be the attack visor with the nano boost coming through. Defran just runs straight past everyone, takes down Unco into the backside, gets Soon as well. The Helix rocket, Nico's going to contest the payload for a little bit of time, but he's got no team there. And now Wins the last man alive, just trying to hold on to payload for a few seconds, allowing those respawns to come back in. His entire team was wiped, but look at this Slasher. You can't talk about it right now, but we do have Nox playing Reinhardt finally.
Yeah, he's finally picked that Reinhardt up. He's going to have to deal with this 76, and there's not enough protection from what he can do when you're playing the Winston. Holho going to come out here. A lot of the damage going towards Nox's shield, but you can see that Nicholas managed to get into the back lines. He's found Michael 3D. Wynn's also chiming in. He's found Kresnik, so there's a chance here for Rogue to stabilize for a moment. They've been forced on towards his Reinhardt pick, there's no doubt about it. But when you're dealing with hit scan damage, it's very, very helpful to have that shield. And Nox hits a fire strike on towards Defran to pick him up.
Alright, so Kresnik 70% on his Earth Shatter. It's going to come down to Reinhardt v Reinhardt. Maybe Nox has shown something he's been hiding for quite a long time, but they've actually switched quite a few up. So they've got Nico over to Zarya as well, so going for a little bit more of a tankier setup to survive, realizing it's a little bit hard for him to do too much work on the Genji. And Soon up to the side is just waiting to harass from the back. Emong's taking a hell of a lot of damage here, but AK with the Deadeye pretty ready to go to zone them away.
Yeah, the speed boost actually allowing Nox to try and get to grips with Kresnik, but he just charges him straight up against the wall. Here's the Transcendence from Unco. He needs to make sure that this is effective. The Deadeye from AKM didn't catch on towards anyone in particular, but he still managed to zone for a moment. AKM, Pulse Bomb dropped over in that direction. It was actually Wins that caught that one. He tried to back away. Sinatra gets his second. It was AKM to fall, and now Nico trying to deal with that, but he manages to laser down Sinatra and Defran. Well, that tack visor is not going to get too much done. Nox comes back in with that shield, and there's a minute 30 on the clock here for Selfless to finish. They haven't been able to bully Rogue in this last phase like they have other teams.
And Kresnik, he actually used Earthshot in that last fight to try to pick off Soon, but the problem is Soon picked up the kill onto him before even, I think, connected onto him. Somehow he still survived through that one, and Kresnik did fall. He's getting no value out of that Earthshatter is going to be fantastic for the side of Rogue. You're a fan of them, but that's going to be Sunbury being followed to the hack. Allowed to push back up. There's the counter Earthshatter on Emong. Finisher isn't there just yet. He's just too healthy, and he has that grenade.
Here's the Graviton, but this might be a little bit too late in the day, Jason. There's a shield in the way. Soon has to try and get behind that one somehow, and he gets no kills as a result. AK managed to find Defran earlier on, just before he was felled by a fire strike, and Soon has to try and stall. Emong was waiting for him, though. He had the hook there, and that is what is going to allow Selfless to get over the line. 49 seconds remain in the round. And the switch up from Rogue there towards the end definitely wasn't overly convincing. Nico towards the Zarya. We saw the Roadhog coming out from Nox there. Didn't look like they were really, I don't know, going off with those picks.
This is how you beat Rogue. You need to force those 3 players off of their comfort picks. You have to get Nico off of Genji. You want him to try to play Zarya most of the time. You want Nox to go to Rein. It's the first time he's played Rein in any official tournament since they have come to the West, even though it was for about 2 minutes. Thought it was okay. I mean, you hold right click and things happen. So it's not bad. And then Unco was able to stay on Zen. So I think if you're Selfless, even though you had a lot more time to finish the map earlier and Rogue's defense is actually pretty solid on third point, you should be feeling pretty good because you were able to make at least 2 of the players switch.
I think, actually, Unco, I was trying to keep track throughout the entire time of who's winning like the 1v1 battles between him and Sinatra. And I know they at least got each other once, where Sinatra got a post bomb into Unco, and Unco, towards the end of that last fight, was actually able to pick up the kill onto him. However, Dahak was there to return the kills. So Unco, I mean, proving to be not as hard to, or not as easy to kill as Sinatra maybe would have hoped for.
Yeah, at the same time, his playstyle also can put him sometimes in pretty compromising positions, a little bit risky. Same for Wins, to be honest with you.
It feels like Emong is maybe having a little bit more of a presence than Sinatra is, and Emong's actually giving some problems for Rogue. I mean, he is doing a pretty decent job on Nox and not letting him create the space that they want to, especially on this map. I'm a little surprised, maybe no Farah, but AKM's McCree. Honestly, watching him play first-person McCree, for all of you out there who are, ZP is an incredible spectator, but being able to just sit here and watch AKM is so nutty. Not a bad idea. Just let him continue to hit headshots.
Well, we're jumping in, guys. We're back to that single tank. We're back to Nico over on that Genji. That Zarya Graviton was very unconvincing towards the end of that defensive half for Rogue. They managed to put a lot of damage down onto Kresnik's shield. That's the start they're looking for. They want to be able to get around that one, but DeFran's found AKM first. This is going to make it very, very hard for Rogue, even with 2 more DPS players up. With a 5-man squad, they're just going to back away.
Yeah, I mean, as Slasher was saying, like, I really wouldn't want to play Farah up against DeFran, as we've seen him be able to take down Farah Mercy combos pretty much by himself. It's very hard to do that, especially when you don't really have an Ana to burst heal you in time. You just depend on the slow healing from his Zenyatta here. But in the meantime, his McCree hasn't worked out so far. I was taken down by DeFran. And you still see Nico towards the high ground, towards the actual hotel, trying to harass them, but they're not able to go to the right target. Michael's able to actually escape this one, and Emong gets a hook on a Nico to prevent any sort of attack onto the back line.
That dive completely failed. Nico got hooked immediately, and I mean, Nox didn't actually get any impact damage with the rocket pack either, with the jet boost, so yeah, he was sort of cut short a little bit from the back line. Rogue had to go again. That's the crux of what they're going to try and do here. They're going to try and use Nico and Nox, and ideally soon together, even though Unko got a kill in the midst there, so he's still a threat as always. Here's the dive, take number 2, I suppose. Now Nox goes a bit deeper this time, straight into the back line. Tac visor being used at the stage, and DeFran finds Nox, so there's that tank down. There are no tanks left on the side of Rogue for those keeping counters home, and that allows DeFran to quite comfortably pick off Nico. Lacking the Reinhardt really makes you susceptible to things like tac visors.
Yeah, and soon, I mean, maybe the whole team was banking on the fact we'd hit a sticky onto Michael, because that post bomb hit absolutely nothing at that archway, and from that they were overcommitted, and the attack visor was just able to clean them up. So now they have to look at maybe a different avenue of attack, and well, now Unko has Transcendence, but the moment for him to use that most effectively is now gone, because DeFran already used that attack visor, and Nico, yeah, he's about to have his Dragon Blade. He doesn't have a Nano Boost though to actually give him that little bit of extra damage he might need, but AKM's close as well, but they just haven't been able to pick the kills.
Soon's up on the high ground, up towards the top right there, and he's just at the moment harassing down Kresnik's shield. That needs to be the first port of call. There's no Roadhog on the side of Rogue to break that one down, but here's the dive, here's the sound barrier. Emong just hooks Nox immediately. They're shutting this dive down by getting these picks. Nico does have that Dragon Blade though, but remember, no Nano Boost for him. He's only managed to find Michael 3D now, and Unko goes for a late fight Transcendence here, just to help his team with the cleanup when things get towards, 3 versus 3 situations, and it does let AKM capture Kresnik. Oh, the pulse bomb! AKM couldn't get away from the blast radius. Sinatra still manages to catch him out with that one, but Nico and Unko are on the point, and Rogue looks like they finally found the formula to take it.
And it just comes down to a Dragon Blade out of Nico. He pretty much zoned, I think, half the team past that archway, so they actually couldn't contest, or were able to finally pick them off. And even with Kresnik keeping up his shield against AKM, he just bought so much time, AKM did, to not allow Kresnik to really do anything, really not allowing him to get off a decent Earth Shatter. But there you go. Like I said, point captured, 3 minutes 30 seconds remain on the board. But they're not able to be as aggressive as Selfless was, because they've been able to get back in time to regroup up for this archway. But soon with Pulse Bomb, he's waiting in the bookshop, and no one spotted him. This could be so deadly. If he just catches onto one person, he's got Michael in his sights, but they finally spotted him.
He's stuck to Fred.
He stuck into it!
That big hack goes down as well. Now Nox is going to find Michael 3D, and the fight is going to explode. Emong manages to get wins, but that's about it. That was a pretty clutch moment with that Pulse Bomb. Getting 2 kills is exactly what you expect from Soon. It's exactly what Rogue needed.
That was Nox. He used the jump pack and actually displaced, I think that was DeFran, into the Pulse Bomb, into Michael, to pick up a double kill for that. That should have been a single kill, but nonetheless, they pick up that much from pretty much just one ultimate being used. Fantastic out of them, and it allows the rest of the team to start charging these ultimates that they're going to need to capture the second point.
How mad are you getting knocked? Displacement in Overwatch is such an interesting mechanic in the way it works. Getting knocked into a Pulse Bomb kind of sucks. Nico, Dragon Blade into the back line. Unko's found DeFran as well. They actually trade each other out. Michael 1v1's a Dragon Blading Nico with his Bardic Grenade. That's pretty impressive stuff, but there's still 2 more threats on the side of Rogue, and they're looking to come out of the gate swinging now. To hack on towards the payload here, AKM gets his second, and should be pretty comfortable going for Rogue here. It's just going to be to hack left. Nox finishes him off with the primer range used earlier on, but you can see that Selfless still want to defend at the foundry gate.
They can't. I mean, they might be able to buy a couple seconds, but they just lost too many people too late in the fight. Just know there's going to have a chance to have a 6-on-6 fight anymore, and if anything, they're just going to feed over more ult %. over to the Rogue side, which is, you know, sitting on almost 3 currently.
Payload close, but now Kresnik and Co looking to come up and try and defend. You can see Nox and Nico are still in the backlines here, and Kresnik can't deal with them because it forces him to turn his shield away. So he just needs to hope that his backline can survive. But so far, the onslaught of Rogue's Dive has been too much for them to deal with in the last couple of minutes. Unco, just in case, the Transcendence comes out to keep them nice and healthy, and AKM with a quick double over the course of that fight will get the payload now onto the final stretch.
Not a bad win, actually, for Selfless there. I mean, they committed no ultimates, and they baited out quite a few on the side of Rogue. So that was actually really well done for them. They knew they wouldn't be able to hold the second checkpoint, but get Rogue to invest ultimates so you have a better chance of being able to stop the snowball that's happening into the third.
Sinatra and DeFran picking up Nico and Nox as they go deep. That's just one thing to keep an eye out for. If that Genji's going down, or that Winston, as it often is the case, of going down early in the fight, it can be quite nasty.
Soon again. He's actually behind, and they haven't spotted him yet. I think Emong's actually flanking around towards him. If not, he's actually on the high ground, and soon he's able to do some decent damage here. His shield has been broken, and Nox, I think he got hooked in towards the high, and he's been taken down by DeFran.
Yeah, and this could be a little bit awkward now with where the spawns are coming out from Rogue, because you can see that sort of have to filter down this one fairly narrow thoroughfare actually to approach the Foundry itself. And with Selfless actually having a very aggressive hold in this position, it not only allows them to fend like a couple more times inside, even if they lose, but also means that Rogue just have to push directly into them. Sound Barrier, Dragon Blade. Nico trying to go in here. Who's he going to be looking for though? It looks like he heads back towards his team. He gets picked off there, and now those ultimates do get drawn out of Selfless. Earth Shatter and Taktvazi used.
The problem was that Rogue committed to themselves. They used Dragon Blade, they used a Sound Barrier to try to make them budge, but it just didn't get anything done. Kresnik, the Earth Shatter, yeah, it was maybe a little bit of an overcommitment since you had DeFran with Tac Visor and Nano Boost already being used. But hey, better safe than sorry. Minute 50 left for Rogue, and they're already guaranteed to have a worse time than Selfless.
Keep an eye on those hooks. Emong can pretty much rip the guts out of Rogue's attack before it even starts at this stage, but now he's forced to go for the whole hog. Perhaps a little bit of desperation. DeFran has a pulse bomb thrown up his nose. There's no way he's dislodging that one on Unco. Again, finding flankers on this Zenyatta has been such an impressive part of what Uncle brings to this team. Again, he picks up the crucial target in Sinatra, and that is a clean as a whistle fight from Rogue.
It's reminding me of Forsaken, actually. Back when we cast him at the World Cup, where even Internet Hope playing for Germany at the time even said to us he never knew Forsaken was that damn good at Zenyatta, and Uncle's doing just that here, able just to stop Sinatra, who was the big powerhouse against Runaway.
Don't forget, he's a Shootmania World Champion with Soon, by the way, so this guy is an incredibly good FPS player, and he's actually managing to still manifest his ability as an aimer on a hero like Zenyatta in this game, which is sick. He's always been wanting to play it. I remember even when he played Mercy, he used to count his blaster kills and tell us after the game.
Yep.
That's how much it meant to him. He's the most bloodthirsty support in Overwatch that I know of. But here, one last stall potentially coming out from Selfless to get to this payload.
Did I come out of AKM to zone them away? In the meantime, Sinatra's been able to steal the payload, but AKM takes him down with the flashbang and the headshot combo. And now Kresnik is going to charge back onto the payload just to die yet again. Just trying to stall for any sort of time they possibly can. And that's going to do it. There's no one left on the payload, and Rogue will complete with 32 seconds remaining.
We've got a game on our hands now. This is pretty spicy. Both teams finish in under a minute. With under a minute left, should I say. So, quite an even match here. Two very different styles are actually intersecting here. And now the way it's going to work is Rogue get 1 minute, and it's going to be a minute and 17 available for Selfless. So, and almost, I guess,
there's no difference.
It's pretty much the same, right? 17 seconds in this game can mean a lot, but again, when you get to after that first point, you're coming back in respawns, that 17 seconds can disappear very quickly, especially when you're chasing those kills. And it is going to be Selfless defending first, as they have a slightly quicker time.
Now, considering what just happened, out of the two teams, I would actually be a little bit more worried for Rogue, because they were able to hold most of that time at the final point, while Selfless almost full held Rogue on the first point. They're considering there is only a minute and 15 seconds, there's a pretty good chance for Selfless.
I'm actually curious, Slasher, your thoughts on Unco so far, against Sinatra in particular, because that was a big talking point we had before the match began.
I think Unco is actually winning the one-on-one pretty decently. Not enough that Unco has decided to switch off.
Yeah, and I mean, like you've been saying before, if you can't get Unco to switch off Zenyatta to something else, then something's not happening correctly for the other team. But we're seeing it looks like Selfless just going for what they've been running and being fairly confident on. They're just sticking to the exact same composition, while so was Rogue.
It took Rogue a long time to take this point, if you think back to their attacking half that we just did see, and took them more than a minute. I'll give you the big tip. So Rogue need to be much faster, much more effective at actually trading out some kills and getting, a stronghold on this point. Remember, the defenders spawn a lot further away from this point, so even a 1-for-1 trade can be beneficial for Rogue if they can follow up on it with consequent and subsequent kills. But so far they're just poking shields down. Oh, interesting. Nox actually uses his jump to get to the high ground. He drops down on towards Kresnik. They're trying to catch this Reinhardt out yet again. That's the flash. That's the kill on Kresnik.
Well, now Sinatra and Emon, though, trying to flake right towards the back, so try to take down the supports, but AKM's there as well as Nox to help solidify this kill. And as you're talking about one-for-one trades, always favor the attacking team when it comes to these hybrid maps. The friends able to try and back in, but they're pretty much held into this choke point where Nico's going to be able to slice and dice his way through them as they try to come through one by one. Now Nox pushed up a little bit too aggressively here, so is Nico. Has to just get away from this one. They've lost too many people. I don't think they're going to be able to take the point on this attack, and I think we're going to have a defense here.
Yeah, it was maybe too far. Still Rogue spawn close. That's a pulse bomb. It was also the Discord orb on Kresnik to get the damage across the line, and now the burst of Rogue are back. Here's the Transcendence, and this might be what they need. They're in overtime, but they've got the first point pretty well solidly. They need to keep trading out effectively, though. Nox drops on towards the point. He's also dropped the bubble quickly, and AKM and Soon are off to the right defending him. This is important. Nico gets a swift strike through Sinatra, and that's the cleanup. That's the take, and now we're into an overtime push across Kings Road.
That Transcendence was huge out of Unco. It stopped Fran from just completely looting them all on top of that point, but now the time has come. You're in overtime, right? If you're Nico in this situation, you want to push up as far as you possibly can, maybe with Soon to use this Dragon Blade to just stagger them as much as you can, but it looks like Selfless isn't going to give them the opportunity for that at all. They're actually waiting for everyone to regroup out of spawn so they cannot be picked off one by one, because they realize if you get staggered here, you're giving up so much ground that you can just not allow.
And by the way, Sinatra got smashed again in that fight by Unco. Again, the Zenyatta coming out on top there, but we'll see. We need to keep doing that a couple more times now because this is high-stakes Overwatch. It's overtime. Soon already dropping to a Helix rocket coming out from Defran. That might hurt, being with 25 players. Now 4. Sinatra wins out this time. There's an Earth Shadow there for Kresnik, and he uses it. It's Nico and Nox both knocked to the ground. Wins can't really do too much except try and stall this one out, but there's not enough people here for Rogue to keep this one moving along. Sound barrier, not an option. Wins before he even got to the ground with his ultimate was blown up by the pulse bomb. And Selfless re-establish themselves, they reassert control, and they stop the payload at 53 meters.
Thing is, though, and I think Slasher probably agree, like, just taking that point in a minute of time that they did have is huge.
Yeah, I mean, even more than that, they got it through the arch. And I think getting it through the arch is actually a huge deal. That allows FaZe to, even if they get spawn camped and stalled out, they will have one real opportunity to all group up and hopefully play as defensive as possible around the arch area and then try to stop him right there.
That was spicy stuff there. The Transcendence timing from Unco was really important on that first point tank. It couldn't have come any later than that, I feel.
And it shows how much damage Unco is actually doing on the attack too, to get that Transcendence up and going, to have it in time to match Defran, who's had some of the sickest ult generation so far we've seen this entire tournament.
So Rogue, still, I would call this less of a turtle-y composition, right? They're not really going to be defensive. They actually need to get kills to justify these particular picks. And I wonder, we don't see a Diva in the pocket for these guys. We don't really see a Reinhardt in the pocket. We see Zarya very early on. So I think Slasher makes a good point. I think when Rogue is sort of forced off this composition, they can look a bit weaker. But the thing is, if you can just beat this composition, in a situation like this, when you've got 1 or 2 pushes, you might just win out the game. So Selfless know they should expect to have some dive. They should expect to have to sort of jockey back a little bit and be able to deal with Nox in their back line and take him out early on.
And I think Selfless not running a Genji here as well can hurt them quite a bit, because Genji will almost guarantee get an ultimate within a minute of time, and that's just pretty much a nuke waiting to be shot off because of what you can do in these tight enclosed areas. But look how Rogue is actually holding this. They're keeping Ana up on high ground, Unco, just trying to stay away from everyone, and they have the protection from ACAM to not allow Defran to get on that high ground to contest him.
Defran went very low there. He has to back away. The biotic field was there for AKM and not for him. So high ground established for AKM. There you can see Sinatra even made a visit. It's going to be the 1v1! Defran and AKM kill each other. But Defran, I mean, was getting more kills for the rest of his team because Sinatra and Emon were also there. Nox falling down. This is not looking good for Rogue at all. They may have lost this point. In fact, they've all been forced off of it. The respawns are going to be a hell of a long way away. Soon he's in the back line. He is there. He does have a pulse bomb. This could be the Hail Mary. If he can time this with the rest of his team getting in here, this could be everything. But he has to go soon. His teammates aren't going to be there.
Okay, so he's saving it here. So they actually
do stop the overtime push.
Exactly. So he's going to use all their ultimates. Well, the only one they have to actually maintain this one. But the thing is, Sinatra has one as well. So if they group up on the payload, which they're most likely going to have to do, with a couple of people actually but extended like Sinatra to actually stop them from push up too aggressively, it could just end this one completely. And look at, they're already on the high ground. They're trying to contest this one. That's going to connect onto the hack, and they instantly gives them the man advantage. And that's Sinatra going down on top of things.
Defran trying to bring it back, and he has attack visor with the nano boost. This could be everything. Soon gets caught by the Helix rocket, and Emon finds Nico. This might have backfired for Rogue trying to get aggressive because Kresnik has the shield. You can't break through that easily with a pulse rifle at all. And you can see Nox is in the back trying to make something happen, and finally the rest of Rogue sort of click in. They realize they need to go now. But the attack hasn't worked. They tried over 2 prongs. try to sandwich Selfless in, and it doesn't work. Now overtime, but Selfless has the payload. They're looking pretty good, and Nox can't knock them off there. Selfless are going to get this done. They're going to get over the line. The golden square is so very close, and there's no one that's going to be there from Rogue. It'll be soon a last-ditch attempt to get there. He gets smacked up. He gets hit around a little bit. Still in overtime as Nico dashes on towards the point. There might be an opportunity here for Rogue to keep this going, but no! Soon was off the point from a little bit too long, and the first map goes to Selfless.
That was insane considering how the ultimates came off cooldown. Jafran, he got nano boosted without attack visor because they really needed to pick up those kills because of how aggressive they got pushed on the high ground with Sinatra going down. I think that was Emong on the Roadhog. So they give him that ultimate, which allows him to get his attack visor up quicker, which he uses later on to actually push the rest.
Target calling and how they want to approach these games that, really to me, Rogue is the favorite coming in. But Selfless is playing quite well against what they're doing.
It's funny because I guess weaknesses in hero pool or maybe inflexibility on the side of Rogue is not something that becomes evident until they're tested in this kind of environment. Because up until now, they've been winning all their games by playing literally the same compositions with a couple tweaks in terms of what Unco plays and what AKM plays. Now, some of the cracks in the ice or the chinks in the armor, I guess, are being exposed because you don't have things like a Reinhardt shield. He's called an anchor tank for a reason. So many teams take him because he's a fundamentally beneficial force in your team, especially against Hitscan, which, by the way, is what Sinatra and Dafran always play. Things like Nico switching towards Zaya and not being able to use it, I think is anecdotal. I reject that analysis because we haven't got to see enough of it. But Rogue seem reluctant to change, to adapt to teams. They want to try and dictate the pace of the game, but Jason, when they can't dictate that pace, they are stubborn and they refuse to change.
Well, that's something that we're going to see of a weakness of them, I think, over time, unless they can somehow fix that, is their hero pool in terms of who the hell is going to play the second tank on the team. Is Nox going to be able to play Reinhardt with the best of them? I guess time will tell for them, but at least in this current patch, they're still one of the best teams in North America at the moment, and they're trying to prove that as they're now up against Selfless here and down currently 1-0 on Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, so this will be an interesting map. We actually did see Selfless have a couple of issues with FaZe previously on. It was the map in the series that they did lose, and it forced a third in the series. This, however, ladies and gentlemen, is a best of 5, so plenty more hopefully to come. Nico starts things off well. He picks Michael 3D out of the mob, notices that he's taken a lot of poke damage, knows he can swift strike in and get the reset to escape.
Trying to see where Sinatra is because on this Tracer he's been able to flank multiple times against multiple different teams. It looks like he's just going to be playing on the high ground behind the side of Rogue, who's trying to get aggressive on the staircase to actually pick up the kills onto these two tanks, and Nico's going to get the kill on the Kresnik, and they do clean this up. So I mean, Sinatra might get some percent on the point, but ideally you should not be getting a single third of this, as that's AKM taking him down. And
I think Rogue did quite well there. They identified where they had a local player advantage, right? There was a 3v2. Obviously, across the map, it was still maybe like a 5v6 or whatever, but they had a player advantage up in that corner. They managed to split Selfless, force them just into two halves. When you've got a Tracer that wants to try and pull you off the point, you're going to lose a player in the bulk of your force here. I like this from Rogue, though. They back off a long way, just so they don't get picked off by a Tracer or anything weird like that, and then they come back in on a bit of a retake attempt.
Oh, Nox, he gets too aggressive. He's pretty much by himself, and that's going to be easy kills for Emo. Now Nico going to be popping that Dragon Blade, takes down Friend with the Swift Strike, and takes down Michael as well, so he picks up 2 kills for his trouble, as he did lose his main tank, but they still lost so many people that Nico on his own just won't be able to hold this point, and that should be the point captured here for Selfless.
And again, so many fights that start with Nox getting hooked in, being the first casualty. I would even say this, Jason. I would say the vast majority of fights that Nox gets picked off first and Rogue lose. You know, I think we've seen some situations where teams can fight back from a man advantage, but Nox always seems to be the linchpin here. If he gets picked off, which is common because you've got to go deep as Winston, you play a risky game. Well, it seems that Rogue can't really recover when they lose it.
Ideally, that's kind of how it should work too, because if Nox can't apply pressure to Michael to stop the enemy from healing, then you shouldn't really win the fight. But look at all these ultimates being popped, and Unco, even with the Transcendence, isn't able to out-heal. The damage is coming in the way of his team. Nico's still alive on the actual point, though. He's buying some time, yes, but they're just running out of men.
That was perfect, though. It wasn't that he couldn't heal a Jason, that Emong whole-hogged him off the point. Unco couldn't give his team the Transcendence healing while he was being knocked back across the other side of the map. Now the sound barrier is going to come into the side of Selfless. Nox does catch a pulse bomb, but he's in primal rage. It's not enough to kill him at this stage. That's the Earth Shatter from Kresnik. It's enough to knock wings to the ground, and that should do the job for the moment. Soon finds Emong. Nox is sleeping in the back line, and that's really got to hurt. You have no bubbles. You have no big tanky body. You have nothing that can really deal with those flankers effectively. That was an incredible sleep dart from Michael 3D.
The thing is, they've lost so many people, though. This should be Rogue holding, but not before they lose 2/3 at this point. Though Kresnik gets slept up as well, but he should ideally die in this situation because they just lost too many men. They lost a friend earlier on. They lost Kresnik now. Sinatra's now gone, and they're going to have to back away. But 2/3 of the way through this point is not bad considering how little time they've actually been attacking.
And what this was, it was only one actually. It was very close to 2/3. But what happens once you start to get 1/3 or 2/3 on the point? It's much easier to force ultimates out of the defending team out of pure desperation. Even if you just posture towards the point, you're going for a junk rush, right? Well, that's what we call, obviously, a push when you don't have ultimates. You can force them out of your enemy team a lot easier because they know their margin of error is so much slimmer now that it only takes a couple seconds for you to finish the game off after having 1 or 2/3 of the capture progress.
Attack-wise going to be used as a Fran though, because AKM did switch. He's got the nano boost as well. This is going to be a hell of a lot of damage. They have no defensive ultimates, no support ultimates to stop this from coming through. They're just trying to spread out so they don't fall. Soon does get one before he does get taken down, but Nico, the Dragon Blade's coming through. There's 3 people grouped up on point. He's going to pick up all of these kills, and it's the Nico show. Yeah, he'll fall eventually, but he stops the point from being captured.
Man, Nico going off. That is some big stuff from him. 4 kills. Essentially on his own, and I won't say completely because there was a little bit of backup off towards the wings there, some healing coming his way. But 3 kills with the Dragon Blade and a Swift Strike finish off is just what the Doctor ordered, and Rogue still keep it to 1/3 on the capture progress. No more pieces of the pie for Selfless thus far, and they might be getting mighty hungry.
Unco with his nano boost, he's going to have this available, yes, but who's he really going to put it on? Maybe Nox to keep him alive, to be that much more of a nuisance, so we can 1v1 Mike a little bit easier on. It looks like it's going to be thrown onto him, and they're going to get aggressive. They're going to come right out of their own area. But actually, it's not really working out well for them because Nico's already dropped.
Yep, and the push is going to come in here. Emong tries to go over the whole hog to facilitate their advance, but he gets put to sleep immediately there. Unco, nice sleep dart connecting. Look at Rogue, giving ground. They allow this point, but they need to come back eventually. Soon's knocked to the ground. He actually survives the fire strike there somehow, but Wins is now put to sleep. So many players from Rogue spending time on the floor, but DeFran gets taken down by Unco and Soon combining on towards him. They know that they can't allow that 76 to roam and get damage done on the point. They don't want to give him those tack visors. And a very solid hold, that one from Rogue. They're looking a bit more comfortable now, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, we also do see some switches out of Selfless as well, with Sinatra going over to the Zarya like we saw Hype do on Immortals earlier on. I feel like very smart move, actually, because Zarya gives you so much more wombo combo potential and kill potential when it comes to this final point on a 2 CP map. Your team can use your ultimate a lot more effectively than a pulse bomb, which will pick up, at most, likely 1 kill. And then from there on, you don't really have much follow-up like a Genji would.
There's a hook on towards Soon, though. This could hurt. You've got arguably 2 of the best teams in North America going at it pretty hardcore right now, and that pick might be exactly what they need on Selfless to push through. Both teams use the sound barriers. Like I said, you can force those ultimates out of Rogue very easily now. They can't afford to take any risks, but they've lost Nico to the tack visor. Now AKM falls to Emong's headshot, and that's a clean fight. That's what you need to win out on this map. And now they should be able to get the rest of the progress done. Nico might be able to get on towards the point, but I believe he just used his Swift Strike, so he won't be able to use it to get on and stall things out. 2 minutes and 7 seconds remaining from Selfless. A good start. Rogue found their feet towards the end of that round, but still having 2 minutes on the time bank against a team of this caliber, you're not complaining.
And Slasher, I feel like there's just one scathing problem we're seeing here is there's no shield or no reliable way to deal with DeFran when he gets nano boost attack visor.
Yeah, I mean, that is consistently a problem. I think to add on to that, as more as I watch these two teams play, I'm really liking Emong on the Roadhog. Considering they do have the Soldier and a combo, it allows more healing that Mike with 3D can get and build up his ult faster and faster, which then allows him to give it to DeFran more times. But with the Roadhog, they're able to put so much shield pressure on what Rogue wants to do. They're able to try to kill Nox as quickly as possible and give some problems to Nico. I mean, there's always the potential for him to get caught by a hook and die, and that is playing pretty well for them.
And the thing is, a Reinhardt shield is also really important because if a whole hog comes down, yes, it's going to burn through that Reinhardt shield eventually. But your Annas, your McCrees, anyone with CC has a couple of seconds of a window to stop that Roadhog, to CC him, to stun him, whatever you need to do to stop that whole hog. But then, if you don't have any of that, if you don't have a shield to protect your team against that, your Genji who's in midair trying to use Dragon Blade gets wrecked. Your McCree can't even get remotely close. Your Winston is just going to get knocked away and his dive's going to be shut down. I mean, I'm not saying they need to play Reinhardt. I'm not saying that's the problem, but there are options available to Rogue if they were willing to go for them.
I will say that Michael has played quite well. I mean, considering on the other side, we talk about how much you have to make Unco switch from Zen to Ana. Well, this is interesting. Maybe some Sour Mercy if they're teasing us. But really, for Rogue side, they have to kill Ana. I mean, Ana's still really good, and it is what is enabling, Kresnik and Emong to do what they're doing.
Ana is really good, and now it is time for the attack from Rogue. It is going to be the Pharaoh Mercy combo soon on the Tracer still, but AKM making a little bit of a switch here. Of course, that first concussive blast down onto that middle platform is one to look out for. If they can knock Kresnik off, it will be a good start. but so far, no real aggression. You can actually see AKM is hovering above the rest of his team at the moment as they all go together through the side rooms. Nox finds Kresnik early on. That's a big start, and that should be an explosion forth from Rogue now, and it is. That's beautiful. Stunning work. Nico gets both of the supports there with shurikens. No dashes required. Wins even chimes in on towards Emong. Clean as a whistle. Rogue take that first point on the first push.
And look at this, soon 71% built up on his ultimate too. AKM, you only have 50%, but this is a big lead for them. I mean, look at Kresnik, 24%, Emong 13. It kind of shows how one-sided that initial battle was. But the problem for Rogue is they don't have the ultimates just yet, but if they stall for a little bit of time, they should have them available, and that could potentially be a big time bank for them.
I don't know how I feel about, okay, I saw Daffrin hover over the Bastion here, but look, here's a bit of a change now. Defran actually going over towards the Winston, so we actually see triple tank coming out from the side of Selfless. The first time in ages. Let's see if it works out, though. I mean, they know they need to turtle up a little bit in the next few moments, and so far it's worked out well. Unco couldn't really escape the Winston. Everyone kind of getting wiped, even to Hack finding headshots on towards Soon to catch him as he crosses by. And that'll halt the push for now.
Yeah, I think you pointed out perfectly. DeFran switching to the Winston was pretty much a necessary evil for them. Yeah, he obviously wants to be playing a soldier, but they need the extra beefiness to survive this push that's coming their way with ultimates ready. At least that first fight won't be happening that way, but now they have the Dragon Blade, they have the Pulse Bomb, they have the Res going to be coming up in this fight. They even have the Barrage most likely as well, which is going to be very hard for them to counter, and they have to hope that Emong is going to be enough to stop AKM from pulling off this Barrage.
Well, Dragon Blade, it might be time to go here. We see up above is AKM still trying to get that damage done. The Pulse Bombs, well, neither of them actually get any kills, but Sinatra's been out doing Soon so far in this fight. But that's something Rogue have up their sleeve that Selfless don't. It's the Res. It comes in pretty well and puts Soon back on his feet. He gets in another one as well, and having that Tracer back alive for Rogue seems to have been a huge boon for them. Sinatra and Hacker on the point. Michael 3D's bringing up the rear now, but Hack falls straight away. And now there's a sound barrier coming out for the side of Rogue. That's very important for them here to use in this fight. The charge was big. Soon got splat up against the wall there. A Tracer pancake. But Rogue still have quite a few players in this fight.
A lot of players, but they've lost on quite a few big targets here. This should be contested for still a long time. They're going to get a third of the checkpoint now done. Hack is actually taken down as he's just trying to climb on the walls here into Fran. Going to be nano boosted to make him extra versatile and help pick up these kills. The Sinatra's there to chime in as well. And they will hold this. A third of it taken for Rogue. That was a hell of a lot invested.
Nox just got wrecked. He tried to 1v1 Michael, but he hits the sleep dart, he hits the bionic grenade, and then the charge comes in as Kresnik brings the cavalry. And I believe, in fact, it was actually a Primal Rage used by Nox there to try and stay alive after he slept. And he wasted that because he got pinned and taken down immediately. Bit of a blooper moment there.
And even Kresnik actually during that fight, once the res came down, I think he earth shattered a tad too early. Caught pretty much absolutely no one with that one, which could have came back to actually bite them in the ass. But lucky for him, the rest of the team was there, especially DeFran and Sinatra. And considering DeFran has already been playing Winston in the time he's needed to stop these ultimates and stop this beefiness that's coming his way, he hasn't switched back yet.
Look what that whole hog does. Emong just used it then. Nox didn't even bother hanging around for that one. It actually forced a full disengage from Rogue. They knew they actually don't have anything to deal with that kind of thing. But they've also managed to draw that out, or at least wait it out. Now they're ready to go yet again. There's actually a Primal Rage for DeFran here, and there's a Pulse Bomb on Sinatra. That's a Dragon Blade from Nico, but he gets hooked immediately. Emong puts him to a complete stop in his tracks. Kresnik's forced to charge backwards over towards a point, but I think, yep, Rogue have already backed out.
Unluckily though for Emong, that hook came in just a millisecond too early because Nico retained his Dragon Blade, even though he was still unsheathing it. He's going to keep it for the second fight, and you can see Rogue, they backed away, they didn't commit any ultimates. Now they're going to have a Transcendence and a Sound Barrier into this next fight, so that actually might come back to actually hurt Selfless quite a bit.
Something we didn't talk about as well is that Rogue actually have 1/3 of the capture progress as well, already to be going on with, much the same way that Selfless did. That's going to help in a big way. It's traded out kills early on though. Michael goes down, Nico gets one kill this time with the Dragon Blade, but that's it. Kresnik takes him down, then he finds AKM. He's the DPS exterminator, along with Emong there with a hook on towards Soon. That's a big fight. You can see Nico's like, bugger this, I'm done with this Genji nonsense. He switched over towards the Reaper now.
Okay, so
Selfless triple tank is actually working.
I'm a little bit surprised with the Reaper, but at the same time, like, it acts as kind of a roadhog for them to deal with DeFran, who gets a lot of free reign over Unco. Like, and already has a hard time surviving against Winston. Zen has even harder time, unless you can hit some ridiculous headshots with the Discord Orb on top of him. So it's gonna be very tough for, I think, Unco to actually stay alive in most of these engagements. But DeFran's already switched. He went over to D.Va straight away once seeing this Reaper.
Kresnik trying to charge away, but you see Nico straight on him. He is on that Reinhardt's case, straight in with the Hellfire shotguns, and the meat shots are coming. And now Nico's standing on the point. He kind of has to deal with Sinatra at this stage, but Rogue are making some good progress here. Nico gets 2 kills, it's good for Rogue. We talk about their hero pools, that they actually have the ability to go towards that Reaper and they get it done. Good work with Nox. The Primal Rage prevents any reinforcements coming via the spawn, and 2 minutes 45 remain on the clock. Slasher, this second map is going in much the same way as the first. It's another close affair.
Yeah, but I've actually got to agree with Jason. I think some missteps there from Selfless at the end. Defron making the right call, switching from Winston to Diva immediately, but they still lose, I think, 6-1 in frags at the very end, with Nico being able to pick up 2 kills. Probably shouldn't be happening. I mean, Reaper's also very solid against the Roadhog, especially if Hog misses one hook. And I also kind of believe in Reaper, even though it hasn't been played in a while, on a map like Assault, where you're able to play in a closed quarters, you're playing on 1 point, and you're also trying to fight off respawns, even though they didn't even need it there. So I think going Reaper is probably the good decision, but Selfless, considering Defron read it right away, switched to Diva immediately, probably should not have lost that last fight as bad as it was, because the ults weren't even that different between these.
Defron wasn't even to be seen, actually, when we did see Nico actually make his presence known with the Reaper. He was all over Kresnik, and I don't even know where the hell Defran was, but he wasn't there protecting his tank.
Yeah, I mean, Kresnik charged across the point. I think he wanted to get away. So obviously with Reinhardt, if you want to reposition yourself quickly, that's the only option you have available to you. You can't shield your team while you're doing that. So Defran probably had the responsibility of trying to bubble up his front line and try and protect him in some way. But I think it's safe to say that Rogue definitely caught Selfless off guard there. They were not ready for that push. I like that they can switch. Hey, if they don't have to play another tank. If Nico switches to Reaper and they can get that result, then don't stop doing it. That's fine. Again, if it works, that's kind of proof unto itself, Jason. But now it's going to be Selfless on the attacking side. They've got under 2 minutes to get things done here. And again, back to their standard composition.
Yeah, I think there's actually a lot of pressure on both these teams to capture this first point, because 2 minutes is still not a lot of time, especially with how Rogue held on to him in the initial get-go, and soon we're taking Sinatra down, winning that 1v1 Tracer battle, immediately gives him this first fight.
Well, so far, you see Rogue have weathered the storm. They're actually being able to heal through a lot of this damage coming through. AKM's looking a little bit low at the moment, and Dahak, he goes down. AKM finds him a couple shots. That's all he needs. And without the Lucio for the speed boost here, it's going to be a little bit tricky for Selfless to actually get in good position. They're going to have to wait.
So we've had 2 kills transpire across this third half, and it's about a minute of time for Rogue already so far.
Huge.
Yeah, with only 2 kills.
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds per kill is pretty nuts when you're in this situation. You have to be so careful. And there's another one. Sinatra gets headshot by the McCree of AKM. Nothing makes me happier than seeing that kind of thing. And now it's the 5-man squad. I've seen this before from Selfless, grouping up as 5 in this position and potentially getting caught out. It happened in that first attack. Let's see, though, if they can navigate these rough seas correctly this time. They're all grouped up together on the high ground. But you see, Rogue, look, they're looking for the reinforcement. They're looking for Sinatra because they know he won't be able to get back to his team easily.
Well, that Pulseful even came through at a soon earlier, too, when they're grouped up on high ground, looking for that big play, but it just doesn't work. Now Defran gets the attack visor off, but he gets discorded up. He gets boosted over towards the side and actually helps Defran a little bit here, getting him out of position that no one can really get to except AKM, and there's just no way in hell AKM is going to be able to pick up that kill against a nano-visored soldier. And there's the first point capture.
Can you imagine, in a parallel universe where Nox plays Diva, he dives him with Diva like that? That looks so different. It's not funny. Nox obviously jumped up. Now, Defran got discorded. I don't give a crap because Defran got knocked sideways into a better position to use that tactical visor in midair. Oh, man. And the bubble didn't even really work. Nox might have dropped it a little bit too early, I think, because it actually fell down. It didn't actually land on that ledge. Anyway, I'm getting tilted about that. 30 seconds left. Last push here for Selfless. They might be able to get himself 4 points.
Nico's got Blade, though. So pretty much comes down to Kresnik. If he can hit an Earthshot on Nico while he uses this one, it's going to be huge for him. The Soundbreaker going to be popped as well for the attacking side, and the defensive side wins to getting that off in the few seconds. Kresnik, he's holding onto his Earthshatter. He catches wins with it, but he gets the smash on Nico, and that's going to be a clean kill. That's no Dragon Blade coming through. Actually, he did have it used, but he gets a kill nonetheless.
He got no kills with the Dragon Blade. That's the problem. That sound barrier made it impossible for him to stick. And look at this, with 4 seconds remaining. Selfless. Oh, that's got to hurt. That is going to be a shot to the gut for Rogue. They had under 2 minutes. They literally had a minute by the time they managed to get their team ready for a proper push on the first point. I'm not saying Rogue threw, but it kind of looks like they threw Slasher.
Not good. Extremely not good. I mean, this is the worst possible scenario that happens when a team almost holds on last point and then just 4 seconds. I mean, right now, and it just has.
We've got Robo Slasher back again, bro. I feel bad because it looks like you're actually on a train there. We might have to check back in with you a little bit later on because I think you had some good stuff to say there. Sorry, guys. Mr. Roboto checking in. But look, let's reestablish ourselves here now. I mean, it's reasonable to see Rogue come in with that the Pharah and the Mercy again, but that, yeah, I don't know, man. Play Diva, shut down Defran. Rogue aren't actually, they're playing table tennis with half the table folded up right now. They're not actually looking at the team comp and like trying to play against that. They've got so much confidence in their own composition that they refuse to even interact with the picks on the side of Selfless and go, maybe we need to switch this over. Oh god, I'm getting frustrated.
And just a quick update for you guys, if I'm seeing what's in chat is correct. LG Evo 2-0 FaZe, which means FaZe is now out of the entire tournament. And LG Evo move on into the loser round of 3, which is going to be coming up next.
That's massive, considering that LG Evil went 0-3 in their group and then beat Fnatic and FaZe consecutively to stay in this. That's impressive. We'll see them in the next game, but for now, Rogue are on the attack. 2 minutes and 25 seconds, and AKM and Unco, they're on a mission. They need to come around the backside here, but the respect needs to be there for Defran. We know he can shred a Pharah when she's up in midair. And again, laying down quite an amount of damage here. No casualties yet. In fact, Defran the first to fall. That's the perfect target. Good focus from Rogue. They managed to take the core out of the composition here for Selfless, but now they need to keep this fight snowballing in their favor. They lost Nico, but that's fine. You traded him out for Defran. You still have 2 more damage dealing, I guess, threats on this team, and AKM gets 1 and then gets taken down by Emong. This is decent trades here, but there is an opportunity for Selfless to come back, but they've been forced back into the end of the back of the point. And look at that. Wins save Unco's life. He boops the Emong away from him when he tries to finish him off on that Roadhog and saves the Mercy. Unfortunately, Unco still dies, but it's still a nice moment.
So Emong gets 4 hooks and 4 kills in that fight, and almost single-handedly saves this first point for his team. That was insane. He kills AKM, he kills Soon, he killed Nico, he killed Wins, I believe it was in the end too. Just ridiculous play of this man, and that's someone that Slasher really wanted to point out. That, yeah, we talked about Sinatra and Defran a lot, but Emong's really stepped up, I think, throughout this entire tournament.
This is not good for Rogue. This is a similar situation as Selfless were in on their half, but the odds of anyone finishing a map with this amount of time left is low in general. Selfless defied the odds. We need to make that very clear to everyone at home. Now AKM, actually with a bit of freedom up high, he's forced to use the barrage because he sees Emong come in with a whole hog. He only gets the 1 kill though. Defran goes nutty with attack visor. He gets himself to the res. This is desperation coming out for Rogue now. They need to make this fight work. There aren't really any more chances after this one, but it's a sound barrier and a barter grenade used on the side of Selfless to keep them nice and healthy. That's big. Michael 3D finally falls down, but he's already offloaded a lot of his healing. So AKM now needs to follow up on Kresnik, and it looks like Rogue will have this point. I'd say that Defran has to just try and back away and get back to his team. He does manage to slip out and escape, but there's not much time left for Rogue. They've got 1 push. They've got a Primal Rage, but their ultimate economy is not looking that flash. It doesn't even matter. Ooh. It doesn't even matter that Selfless don't have a lot of ultimates to work with. They're going to have a nano boost.
He switched over from the Tracer to the Sombra here, so actually hacking the health pipe under that bridge gives some extra healing when he does need it. Here, AKM is just trying to spam away some rockets in his direction, and AKM getting close to Barrage yet again, not to mention Soon. He has his pulse bomb ready to go here.
It's time to fight. That's the only way about it right now for Rogue. Nico managed to get Michael 3D down, but he's taken down by Defran just after that. Primal Rage coming out from Nox, but he's not actually doing much disruption on the point. He was either knocked away or he chose to jump. He got Kresnik at the very least with a swinging fist, but he's got to back out. They've lost too many casualties in that fight.
They need to just die or somehow escape this one. Luckily for them, they don't get chased down, because that could have been terrible for them, because they're going to have one last chance here. Nico switching over to the Reaper. Dragon Blade not working on that last fight, but they have the Barrage, they have the Pulse Bomb, and they have Unco. I think, so yeah, switch for the Mercy over to Zenyatta here to make something happen in this last attack.
10 seconds. 10 seconds remaining. There's a Pulse Bomb, there's a Barrage available for Rogue. They've got some damage ultimates, but the EMP is there for Sinatra. He could shut this all down immediately. Oh, the hack comes into AKM. What can he do with this one? Nothing. He gets taken down immediately, but still, Uncommon Soon get kills. Importantly enough, Soon eventually drops down, but even Wins finds Sinatra. It's a back and forth fight, but it may not be quite clean enough for Rogue at this stage to take this map out. We'll see. Pressure goes on towards Emong, and you see Nico and Nox together are able to force him away. That's 1/3 of the point. 2/3 to go. Unco finds the hacker now. Kresnik has to force in on his own. Defran hopes to try and catch Nox or Nico by surprise, but he's forced to recall out fairly quickly. There's a chance for Selfless to re-establish back on this point. We're still in overtime, but Rogue are here in numbers to go again.
Nico's about to have Death Boss too, which could be huge here. Unco goes down. Wait, he just got Transcendence. Emong takes him down, switching from the Roadhog over to the Soldier, and that's going to be the sleep dart on a Nico, and that's going to be Selfless now up 2-0 in this series. Sinatra, the play of the game there, hacking AKM, so he can have no barrage. He had no chance to make anything happen. I think that just held the point for them almost.
Not only do you not have your barrage, you don't have a concussive blast to change.
And know me right now. I mean, as much as it. Sorry,
Kresnik.
Yeah, Kresnik. Yeah, really, as much as Sinatra and Defran are killing a lot of things, which they are, the tank backbone right now is giving a lot of problems to Rogue.
Well, as we do get underway onto Village for Nepal, it looks like Nox will not be playing Reinhardt again, but we do see the switch to Nico. So Slasher, give us your thoughts really quickly as you see Nico get away from that Genji over to this D.Va.
I think it's a solid pick. They mentioned that they might be doing that, and considering what's been happening right now, it's pretty good against Roadhog, and it can deal with Defran.
I mean, if you've been holding that back, it's definitely time to pull it out now. You don't really have much margin of error left. Aggression, though. Nox jumping forward. You see the Bardic Grenade dropped into the back line of Selfless, forced them inside the building, which is going to give Rogue a good chance to set up here now, up on the high ground and in positions where they can get good picks across the map. Sinatra getting a little bit too close for comfort there. This is a very messy fight, but Rogue still have 4 players up now. Pushing forward, soon found Kresnik, and you can see another Bardic Grenade dropped on top of Emong and Defran. Have to back away.
Well, Dahak is just barely going to skip this one. In the meantime, Soon's going to be capturing the point, and I still love the div out of Nico in the beginning, because when they're in these tight and closed areas, that defense matrix just gets amplified insanely because of how much you can absorb with that in the position that you're in. But in the meantime, again, Rogue going back and aggressive, going straight for the fight. Soon. That's going to be an easy triple for this man in towards that room. As we just talked about close quarter combat, that pulse bomb is going to have 2 easy kills.
And we talked about this. Soon is known as one of those tracers who is always going to get, I hate using this term, but value for his pulse bombs. It's not that he just gets the stick and gets 1 kill. He gets 2 kills. He gets 3 kills. It's insane. That's impressive stuff there. I mean, you got both the supports and Defran, instant fight win, no doubt about it. And that's what gives Rogue this point. They're 33% on it now. Starting to fire up a little bit more. It's going to be the sound barrier coming out with AKM up on high. Did have the attack visor now dropping down. Kresnik earth shatters him. He's got no choice but to try and do that to neutralize him.
He gets the kill, gets the charge as well, but Uncle you can see is still alive, and Nico's there as well. Sinatra can be focused on the point as he does get turned purple, and that's going to be soon there to secure the kill. It looks like Rogue is focusing their targets a lot better than they've been able to do for the majority of this series so far. And that's something we really praise them about, especially when it came to the first game of the day up against Immortals. It just seemed to have disappeared in the entire series against Selfless, but it seems into the third map, into this control point on Nepal, they finally have gone back to what they know in their basics of call a target, kill a target.
And Rogue, Rogue are really focusing on Sinatra.
Oh, wow.
Sinatra switched, he's been playing the Zarya, of course, so far in this match, so it's a lot of tanks coming out here on Selfless, and Unco, that's the second time in a row he smashed Michael 1v1, by the way. He did it just before in the earlier fight on the point. That sound barrier has now expired, so Selfless had to go in with just their health pools and nothing else, but so far they've managed to use that time to actually get kills and get that free damage that hasn't been responded to. Soon's in a position where he can be damaging right now, but he doesn't have the pulse bomb available. Nox gets a quick double though, does land quite comfortably on top of Sinatra, but now he's just stalling on the point here. I don't really think Soon can assist him in this position, and Kresnik gets a nano boost there. Not sure if that was worthwhile at all.
No, not at all. I mean, that was just blatantly Rogue just trying to stall it for 99%, just to make sure that the next fight they do win pretty much secures the entire map for them, or the first point for them. But so this is the first time that we've finally been able to see Selfless capture the point, and Kresnik with an Earth Shatter ready to go, Sinatra getting really close over towards Graviton Surge. Defran, normally the soldier player for the team and flexing over to tank earlier on, has switched to Tracer to fill the shoes of what Sinatra's been able to pull off to have some sort of wombo combo.
That's really interesting. The triple tank here coming out in a different way than we expected to see. It's not Defran on the Winston this time, but it's been a good start actually here for Selfless. Kresnik found AKM early on. Yeah, they managed to get on towards the point, but this is the Earth Shatter being forced out now. We saw Rogue split up, they tried to sneak it away. They actually got at least into overtime, which is good. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they get themselves 1%. So that's still a problem. But now, Selfless have to deal with this annoying beef every second until they get to overtime.
They get 1%, but they at least denied away another 10-15%, I say, from the side of Selfless, which ideally could be another fight if we had it obviously extend to that kind of situation. But it's not just got Graviton. And I'm going to imagine if Rogue goes in from the same direction, the Graviton comes down, as Nico switched over to Genji, then you're pretty much just feeding ultimates to Kresnik and to Fran.
Yeah, quite possible. Ultimates that feed other ultimates are really powerful. That's why Nano Boost is also quite potent. That's the Graviton. Do they get there in time? AKM actually kills Defran earlier on there, so no chance for him actually to get a pulse bomb in that fight and use it potentially. But Emong, 2 headshots. That's pretty nutty. I'd say there's some right-click action coming in from Emong, who's just been a pretty nutty Roadhog in general. The beefing continues. 67% comes up for Selfless, and so far they're holding in the heat.
I think Grizzly went from about like 40% to 90% in that fight with a charge and a couple of hammer swings, as well as Emong getting really close to his ultimate. So Sinatra commits his and gets basically 3 people on his team. They're all ready to go for this next fight, and all it's going to take is one more fight. The problem is that AKM has Tac Visor as soon as Pulse Bomb and wins. He's got his Sound Barrier ready to go, which can give them the longevity they need to make this fight happen. But AKM dies before he even has a chance to receive the Sound Barrier, and that's now Tac Visor gone.
Yeah, that Sound Barrier was definitely forced out of the side of Selfless. They got no choice with how close the game is right now, but this might turn around. This is the fight that Rogue needed to win, but it's not going so well for them so far. Soon the only one to get a kill so far. There's 5 Selfless players still up on this point, and desperately Nico trying to stay alive. But Sinatra, you cannot block Zarya's damage with her left click. There's nothing you can do. AKM just desperately runs on towards the point, but that's all it is right now. The first round completely flipped. It was 98-0 in favor of Rogue, but Selfless calmed themselves down. They re-established control, and they steal it away from Rogue.
That ult management, right, Slasher? Insane.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, actually, Rogue did what they needed to by flipping the point. That's what gave them the extra 5 or 10 seconds to be able to regroup at the very end to have a good fight. But AKM dying before Wins gets a Sound Barrier off is really what clutched the map or the round for Selfless.
And that was Defran playing the Tracer too. Like, it wasn't Sinatra, the normal Tracer player for the team.
Defran is an insane Tracer. Yeah. Insane Tracer. They could very well do what they're doing now and mix it up and have him play it.
So sick that Selfless have this kind of flexibility as well, where Sinatra has already played Zarya in this tournament. We've actually seen him do that. Mostly he hasn't been. But the fact that at the flick of a switch, Selfless can, switch over towards this triple tank composition and still be very robust in its execution is what I find so impressive. Rogue, they've got McCree for AKM this time and not the Soldier 76. Obviously a little bit close quarters here. Not as many good advantages for the Soldier in general to make use of his long-range prowess. But let's see how AKM plays it up close here with the Kree.
So far, that shield's already been spammed on quite heavily. The Kresnik on Nox going in directly towards the back line as Wins gets charged as he's trying to come through this doorway, and Kresnik's just laying down the law. In the meantime, the rest of Rogue hasn't been able to pick up a single kill. Finally, soon comes in and takes down Emong, but damage is done, and I don't really think Rogue has a chance to take this unless somehow Nick can get some resets, and that's an insanely early pulse bomb out of Soon.
Yeah, I mean, Defran's not too far behind there, but I mean, despite Soon getting the pulse bomb early, he still gets wrecked. He doesn't manage to use it. All the damage that he did was just healed over anyway. So it's like being that gold damage player in a game that you have no final blows or eliminations. It's like, well, it doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things here. Kresnik is that kind of player that just charges off cooldown. And I've seen him go for some pretty weird and wacky charges, but when we see him hit them, it's like, okay, that's pretty impactful. But in the previous map, it did get him caught out a little bit on Anubis.
Well, looks like both Tracers are going to be taking an Unco again, getting the better of the opponent's Tracer, and that's going to be Nico on the back line, getting his Dragon Blade off, takes down the Hack, looking for more, gets Michael, and it's just easy pickings for the team. It looks like with no hook coming through out of Emong onto him, there's no chance they're going to shut him down, and this should be Rogue taking the point back, and we're going to see how long Selfless can contest this to keep that percent build up for themselves.
Kresnik, yeah, I mean, he's actually not that low. He could do something from this position, but he just charged into the pillar. Yeah, that's not ideal. He goes down for that one, no doubt about it. And Sinatra was also the recipient of the nano boost in that. Why is...
Because he's just trying to stall for extra percent. They got an extra, I'd say, 15% from that one, actually, when they already lost the fight.
So I was going to say, yeah, Sinatra was the recipient of the nano boost in that fight and wasn't able to complete kills with that. Obviously, Zarya doesn't give you the burst potential as much as, you want from maybe like a Genji with a Dragon Blade or something similar. I mean, Sinatra could play Genji. He could definitely do that.
I take it, like, we look at Immortals, and they actually do that to Hype quite a bit. They give him the nano boost because they realize how insane, even LG Loyal over to Spree, because how much damage Zarya can do. If you have high energy to get nano boosted, you can shred through people. And not to mention, it gets him his Graviton earlier.
Look how quickly the Zenyatta came into that fight there. Unfortunately, though, for Rogue, they already lost Soon very early on in the piece, and that might be spelling their demise here. Graviton Surge was used, but other ultimates were not required. I like a team that recognizes that all they need is a Graviton, and they don't need to try and wombo with that. They didn't use the whole hog, they didn't use the pulse bomb, they didn't use the Earth Shatter. Good control from Selfless. In a match that's very close, and these two teams are very evenly matched, to keep themselves with 3 ultimates into the next fight is superb.
I'm actually surprised to see Unco still playing Zenyatta here. It's a very good counter to a Zarya, because you can obviously out-heal any damage that's come your way in that Graviton Surge.
I find it really hard to play on this map in particular.
Well, it's also hard to play when you don't have a guaranteed shield to block a Bio Grenade from coming through and pretty much eliminating your entire ultimate. So I'm expecting him to switch to Ana sometime here to allow Nico to be even more effective. And maybe it'll take some time because, well, right now they don't have much of it, 75% for them, and they're already going to be down 2-0 when they're already down 2-0 on maps in this series.
Wins got picked off at the start of that fight before they even got to the point. He had the sound barrier. Rogue need to wait for that. They actually don't have many more opportunities. That was beautiful though. Soon got into the back line. He got a pulse bomb on towards Emong there. Quickly, Nico gets bursted down by a pulse bomb. No, it was just damage from Defran actually. Headshots were there. But it doesn't matter because AKM's got himself the Tac Visor. And Rogue, expend those ultimates to get up onto the point. So that's pretty reasonable. The Earth Shatter from Kresnik, not bad for wins to get a couple kills, but the Earth Shatter from Kresnik didn't amount to much in that fight.
I like how we always make fun of Wins because he was a Lucio player originally, and he was so excited to be playing tank to do some damage, and now he's back to Lucio. It feels bad for him, but maybe we'll get some sick gains somehow from playing Lucio all day.
No, he puts his feet up at the desk when he plays Lucio, like he did at the takeover LAN, and accidentally altered in his spawn on King's Row. I'm never going to let you live that down, Michael. The funniest thing ever. Pulse bomb on the Emong. That's big. 2 kills for Soon there. The hack also falls down with Michael. He gets 2 supports for 1 pulse bomb. Soon, my man, back at it again. Completely gutting Selfless in that fight. And it's not a moment too soon as well. They're 96%. This last fight will mean everything.
It comes down to how well Sinatra can put a Graviton Surge down, because you have Defran ready with the Pulse Bomb waiting to go. Unco, you're going to have this ultimate that's going to do absolutely nothing against this. Nico, can you somehow position yourself to pick them up before they come in? Because look at Rogue, they actually could take the fight directly to them. And Emong's get caught up the transits pop just to keep them alive. 93% built up, and they're going to have the point contested, but they've lost too many people. Defran's gone, they have no combo.
Yeah, they've lost way too many players. Nico had the Dragon Blade here as well. You may even have been better off just disengaging as soon as you saw the Transcendence in the fight. You may still have actually had time if you're Selfless, but Rogue played that very cleverly. Cerebral approach from the Frenchman allows them to even up this series at 1 apiece, Slasher.
I mean, that's a big round for Rogue. They go down 2-0 in rounds and 2-0 in maps, and you're thinking, well, maybe it's just going to end right here and there, especially considering they were down 99 to like 47% there. So that, they gave opportunities for Selfless to be able to close it out, and they are not able to. So maybe Rogue is able to get some momentum from this round win. I mean, the problem is, at least going into this map, they're going to have the most trouble against the comp that Selfless is running on all the maps so far for Nepal.
Why is that?
Just because Roadhog is so good here on Sanctum, and that's why Triple Tank has been run by a lot of teams, even though they like to run dive, like, for example, Immortals. I mean, Selfless has been consistent in their 2-2-2, even though we have seen Sinatra on Zarya a decent amount.
It kind of worked in that last round. I didn't think he played a bad Zarya at all. I just think he lacks the ability. Well, I'm not going to say X Factor because I don't want to overuse that one, but he doesn't have that same ability to influence the fights, I feel, in this case. A little bit more of a slow roll pick, but Defran finds wins already. What a beautiful opening. Unco's taken down. He was very low. And this is a perfect example of Selfless focusing those supports down early. However, they lose their own Lucio in the process, and Soon is outdoing them right now.
I like the way that Emong's actually positioned himself for the most part here. I mean, we're going to have, I think, Rogue ideally be able to take this point, but Emong's actually sitting back into the support line of his own team for when Nox does jump. So we give Nox a lot of slack, obviously, about playing Winston and only played Winston, but there's a lot of pressure on him and a lot of effort being applied out of Selfless to actually eliminate any sort of chance he has to do anything.
Winston actually has the lowest pick rate in the game at the moment, often considered by many people to be very difficult because you are constantly walking a tightrope between not enough aggression and too much. That's just something you need to manage, and sometimes it can't be balanced. But in that fight, that went very nicely there for Rogue. Soon did very, very well. He went straight for the hack. He made a beeline for the Lucio. Obviously, it's a big pain as a Tracer to deal with being booped back and away from your intended target. So getting rid of him early on in the fight makes it a lot easier to assassinate those squishy targets.
Oh, Nico has Dragon Blade ready to go, and they're tightly funneled together, so some easy potential kills for this man. Not to mention Kresnik is nowhere near to even be seen to help them here. He's getting close to Earth Shatter, yes, but he's not going to have it up just now. And Nico gets to friend in the back line, and that eliminates a big target. Selfless now with a man down are still holding on somehow.
It may not be enough yet. Okay, that's enough. The Pulse Bomb and the Michael 3D and Kresnik. Again, how many multi-kills has Soon gotten in this game? And to be honest with you, more than Sinatra has. Sinatra's been playing an excellent game, but Soon is Tracer. That's just the way it is for him. He's played that character for so long. He was one of the first to play it, especially over DreamHack Winter, actually, on that Misfits roster.
I just got a terrible image in my head of seeing Soon actually dressed up as Tracer. Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to leave me for a while. But in the meantime, Soon is just still sticking towards the window. He's actually giving the information of directions they're going in. That's going to Defran popping the attack visor with the nano boost, just the bubble, and that's the only line of defense they have except these walls in the environment to stop this from doing anything. And well, they've been able to do just that. It hasn't accomplished any kills, and now Sinatra going in through the underpass onto the actual point here as Nico picks the kill into hack towards the back, and Nox isn't really being contested. Earth Shatter coming in a little bit too late and gets him absolutely nothing.
I don't know why you go for that there. I mean, I don't know what you really expect to catch when most of the enemy team is sort of surrounded you and behind you. Maybe a little bit of extra stall, I guess, on that percentage, but again, it wasn't the point wasn't under control of Selfless at the time, so I don't really know why they stall for that.
There's no way they're going to get this here. I mean, they have a pulse by their attack visor, they have everything to hold them into this area except a Graviton Surge, and it looks like it's going to be Michael who's going to touch the point, but touch the point for only a few seconds as they're going to be cleaned off. And a Rogue on the brink of basically being knocked down to the loser bracket, have been able to take the lead here on Nepal.
And a strong answer, too, going 99-0. Selfless was not able to take the point one time.
I mean, how many of those fights, though, were from things like AKM catching the Tracer with a Helix rocket, soon just going absolutely nuts? This guy is really stepping up to the challenge that, a player like Sinatra is delivering him. I think he really thrives in this kind of situation. Like we've already said, he's a world champion in previous FPS titles, so this is what he breathes for. And again, you got to get up pretty early in the morning if you're going to beat Soon at his own game.
Selfless is going to run this comp. It is going to be up to Soon to carry Rogue to victory. He's going to have his opportunity to feed off of Emong, and he gets so many pulse bombs. He's getting 1 or 2 frag kills every single time he does it. If he's able to do that, that is how Rogue is going to win.
Well, again, I mean, I like the AKM Farah here. It's actually pretty decent against his composition. Yes, there's threat from Ana and potentially hooks coming in from Emong, but apart from that, AKM might actually be able to get a bit of freedom. But Jason, you've said it's kind of hard to play Farah on this map.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of places you can really hide behind. You have to play a little bit too close than you really desire to, and not to mention it's too easy to get on high ground and actually contest you. When you're against someone like DeFran, who's actually not playing Soldier, luckily for AKM, it's, I guess, relatively easier to play against this kind of situation. But, I mean, Fair could be, fairly convincing on this map, but I think for the most part, this is not really one of her favorable points when it comes to Nepal.
So, yeah, I mean, DeFran, now having seen the Farah shown, doesn't switch to the 76. In fact, not the Sinatra. So there's not enough to convince him that they need a little bit more in the arsenal to deal with this Farah. AKM has the opportunity to do more damage. Now, he doesn't have the Mercy Pocket, but he does have that Orb of Harmony often being given to him by Unco to keep him nice and topped up over the top of the fight there. You can see DeFran, he attempted to blink in over on the high ground, but realized he couldn't get close enough to Rogue. But now the fight's happening on the point, and this is where it gets a little bit more dangerous for AKM to fight. That's a big pulse, but AKM, it's a 3-man barrage coming through. He kills himself, but he's done his job.
So does that count as a 4-man kill then, technically?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll give it to him.
And then Unco gets 2.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Unco, I swear this man probably has like ticks on his wall in his room of how many kills he gets in every scrim playing support. Like I said, he's bloodthirsty, and we see how much he's been practicing and how well he can play on a Zen here. Hitting so many different shots and been able to take, not only DeFran, but Sinatra in the 1v1 battles of Zenyatta versus Tracer.
We can't even call him a Zenyatta specialist because he's a god at Ana as well. This guy is, I mean, we've seen him play Ana for the longest time while she was so strong now. But there's more options now. It's good to see. Dragon Blade for Nico. Yeah, he managed to have a bit of a dash through to hack, I think, would enable him to connect with Michael there as well. He was actually in no man's land for a little bit of that fight, but Sinatra is so far as the only player who's really been able to fire back with a kill. Now Emong gets one. That's a pulse bomb that doesn't really connect with anyone in particular and soon does go by the wayside. But still, Nico over that fight. Again, the triple threat from Rogue is really scary to deal with. It's not enough to get a 1v1 win against a DPS player. If you're DeFran, you need to essentially win, multiple 1v1s on that DPS to sort of win that out. You can't even really rely on Emong hitting hooks every day of the week, even though he does.
To be fair, though, when we were on Village before, it was 98%, and we did see Selfless turn it around in this ground surge, not to mention Emong getting a double kill to Nox and Unco. Would definitely be the avenue, the route they need to turn this one around, and don't tell me they're at 98% again. No, they're going to get tested. They're going to build a close one to 99. Most likely here. Oh my god, 97. Almost 98, exactly like the first time we saw. But will they be able to recycle these ultimates and use them wisely enough? The problem is that Wins and Nox didn't invest their ults into that last fight, knowing they're probably going to lose that one with Kresnik and Michael and Dahak and Sinatra all committing big ultimates into the fight. So they save them into the next, and they're looking for the final push to end this match.
Well, being forced to have to completely switch this again is a bit of a pain in the rear end, I think, for Selfless, but they're capable of it. There's no doubt about that. Now, we did see Emong have to back away despite having the whole hog there. He needed to get that healing. He jumps down and he gets the hook. He kills AKM despite the Transcendence being there because burst damage goes through that tick-based healing. Still, Unco headshots Emong. He gets the finish off there and Rogue take this point. They're going to take this map. Nepal is all about Rogue and they stay alive in this series. It's 2-1 on the scoreboard and the Frenchmen finally bring one back.
I'm actually going to disagree with both of you on the Farah for that on Village.
I've gone for the Widowmaker pick a lot.